Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is experiencing the very first warning sign of a stroke, and they have absolutely no idea. They might be sitting in their favorite chair, they might be making breakfast, they might be watching television, and the sign that their brain is about to be robbed of its blood supply is happening inside them, quietly, subtly, in a way that feels so ordinary they will brush it off and go back to whatever they were doing. And for many of them, that decision, that moment of brushing it off, will be the most catastrophic decision of their life. Today, I need to make sure you are not one of those people. I have spent 8 years studying stroke, how it begins, how it builds, and most importantly, how it can be stopped before it destroys everything. Size. And in all those years, the thing that breaks my heart most consistently is not the stroke itself. It is the warning signs that came before. Signs that were there, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, that were missed, dismissed, or simply never recognized. Because nobody told these patients what to look for. Tonight, I am going to tell you. Before I walk you through the 7 signs, I need you to understand something about how a stroke actually works, because understanding the mechanism is what makes these warning signs make sense. A stroke occurs when blood supply to part of the brain is interrupted. Either a clot blocks an artery feeding the brain, or a blood vessel bursts. When brain cells are deprived of oxygen-rich blood, they begin to die within minutes. Every minute that passes without intervention, nearly 2 million neurons are lost. The brain, unlike many other organs, has extremely limited capacity to regenerate those cells. What is lost is often lost permanently. This is why the phrase, "time is brain," is not a slogan. It is a biological fact that determines the rest of a person's life. Now here is the part that most people do not know. Strokes are very rarely completely without warning. The brain sends signals, the body responds, and those responses, if you know how to read them, can give you a window of time, a genuine window, to act before the full stroke occurs. That window can mean the difference between walking out of a hospital and being carried out. Let me tell you about a woman named Dorothy. She was 73 years old, a retired librarian, sharp-minded, independent. One evening, she noticed that the left side of her face felt slightly odd. Not painful, just different. Numb, almost. She thought she had slept on it strangely. She went to bed. In the morning, she woke up and the left side of her body could not move. Dorothy had experienced a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, the night before. A warning stroke. A dress rehearsal that her brain had sent her. And she had missed it. The first warning sign is sudden, brief numbness or weakness on one side of the body. And I want you to hear the word "one side" very carefully. The brain is divided into 2 hemispheres. The left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. The right hemisphere controls the left side. When a stroke or TIA affects one hemisphere, the symptoms appear on the opposite side of the body. One arm feeling suddenly heavy, one leg that feels strange when you walk, one side of the face drooping or feeling numb. The one-sided nature of the symptom is what makes it neurological rather than positional. It is not a circulation issue from sitting too long. It is not a pinched nerve from sleeping awkwardly. It is your brain telling you that blood supply on one side has been interrupted. This symptom lasts seconds to minutes in a TIA. People dismiss it. They should not. Research published in The Lancet Neurology found that the risk of full stroke within 48 hours of a TIA is between 3% and 10%, and within 90 days up to 17%. The warning sign is real. The danger that follows it is real. The second warning sign is sudden confusion or difficulty understanding speech. And this one is particularly easy to miss in older adults because it can look like tiredness, distraction, or a senior moment. The speech and language centers of the brain are located in specific regions of the left hemisphere for most people. When blood supply to these regions is reduced, speech becomes disrupted. Words get jumbled. A person may know what they want to say, but be unable to produce the right words. Or they may hear what someone is saying, but be unable to process its meaning. It feels, from the inside, like suddenly being unable to find a word, but more severe, more frightening, and more sudden than ordinary word-finding difficulty. If you or someone near you suddenly cannot understand a simple sentence, cannot answer a basic question coherently, or begins speaking in a way that doesn't quite make sense, that is a neurological red flag, not a senior moment. The third warning sign is sudden vision problems, and not the gradual blurring of aging eyesight, but sudden, unexpected changes in vision affecting one eye or one visual field. This can manifest as sudden blurring in one eye, a sensation of a gray or dark curtain descending over part of the visual field, double vision that appears suddenly, or sudden loss of vision in one eye. The visual cortex is located at the back of the brain, and arteries supplying this region are common sites for stroke-causing clots. A transient visual disturbance that lasts a few minutes and then resolves is not a coincidence or a dry eye issue. It is a potential TIA affecting the visual pathway. A 64-year-old man named Gerald came to me after an episode where his right visual field went completely dark for about 2 minutes before clearing. He had told nobody. He thought it was an eye issue and planned to see his optometrist the following week. He came to me instead by chance. Imaging revealed a clot in the posterior cerebral artery. He was treated. 2 days later, that clot would likely have caused a major stroke. The fourth warning sign is sudden, severe headache with no known cause, described by stroke patients and neurologists as the worst headache of your life. This is the classic warning sign of a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding in or around the brain. And it is unlike any ordinary headache in its quality and intensity. It arrives suddenly, like a thunderclap. There is no gradual buildup. There is no preceding tension or migraine aura that the person recognizes. It simply explodes with full force within seconds. If you or someone you know suddenly describes a headache as the worst they have ever felt, appearing in an instant with no clear trigger, this is a neurological emergency, not a tension headache, not a need for paracetamol. Call emergency services immediately. The fifth warning sign is sudden trouble walking or loss of balance, and this is one of the most commonly dismissed warning signs in seniors because it is so easily attributed to general aging, inner ear issues, or fatigue. But there is a specific quality to stroke-related balance disruption that is different from general unsteadiness. It arrives suddenly. It is often accompanied by dizziness that feels internal and disorienting. The person may feel as though the room is moving, or they may simply find that their coordination has suddenly failed, reaching for something and missing it, walking and feeling as though the floor is tilting. The brainstem and cerebellum, which control balance and coordination, are supplied by the posterior circulation arteries, the vertebrobasilar system, and strokes in this territory consistently produce these sudden balance and coordination failures. A study from Johns Hopkins found that dizziness accompanied by any other neurological symptom, no matter how mild, was associated with a significantly elevated short-term stroke risk. The sixth warning sign is a sudden, brief episode of memory loss or profound confusion, distinct from ordinary forgetfulness. There is a specific condition called transient global amnesia that can be associated with vascular events in the brain, where a person suddenly and completely cannot form new memories for a period of minutes to hours. They may ask the same question repeatedly, be unable to recall what they did that morning, or seem profoundly disoriented in a way that is completely unlike their normal baseline. Witnesses to this are often terrified. The person experiencing it is often unaware of how impaired they are. This is not dementia beginning. This is not stress. In the context of other cardiovascular risk factors, this can be a significant warning sign of cerebrovascular compromise that warrants urgent medical evaluation. The seventh warning sign is one that almost nobody talks about, and it is one of the most consistent findings in the research on stroke precursors in older adults. It is sudden, unexplained fatigue, not ordinary tiredness, but a profound, overwhelming exhaustion that comes on suddenly and does not correspond to physical activity or poor sleep. Research published in the journal Stroke found that a significant proportion of stroke patients, particularly women, reported sudden, severe fatigue in the days and hours preceding their stroke. This fatigue is neurological in origin, reflecting the brain's response to compromised blood flow. It is not fixed by rest. It is often accompanied by a vague sense that something is wrong that the person cannot articulate. Many seniors dismiss it as overdoing things. Many of them are wrong. Now, I want to give you the single most important tool in stroke response, and it is a simple acronym that every person reading this should memorize today and teach to every person they love. It is FAST. Face. Ask the person to smile. If one side of their face droops, that is a warning sign. Arms. Ask them to raise both arms. If one arm drifts downward or cannot be raised, that is a warning sign. Speech. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. If their speech is slurred, strange, or absent, that is a warning sign. Time. If you observe any of these, the time to act is immediately. Call emergency services. Do not drive to the hospital. Do not wait to see if it gets better. Call. Because every minute from the moment of stroke onset to the moment of treatment determines how much of the brain can be saved. Clot-busting medication called TPA can reverse stroke damage if given within a specific time window, but that window is narrow and it closes fast. I want to come back to Dorothy, because her story did not end when she woke up unable to move. She spent 4 months in rehabilitation. She regained partial function in her arm. She will never regain full function in her hand. She walks with a cane now. She told me during one of our sessions that the numbness she felt the night before, the numbness she dismissed, lasted at least 15 minutes. 15 minutes of warning that her brain was in danger. She had the window. She did not know it was a window. That is why I am telling you this today. Before I close, I want to give you 5 things you can do starting today that reduce your stroke risk measurably. First, know your blood pressure. High blood pressure is the single biggest modifiable risk factor for stroke. If you have not checked yours recently, check it this week. Target below 130/80. Second, know your atrial fibrillation status. AF, irregular heartbeat, dramatically increases stroke risk because it allows clots to form in the heart that can travel to the brain. Many people with AF have no symptoms. An EKG takes minutes and can save your life. Third, manage your blood sugar. Diabetes doubles stroke risk. If you are over 60 and have not had an A1C test recently, ask your doctor for one at your next appointment. Fourth, if you smoke, stop. Smoking narrows arteries, raises blood pressure, and makes blood more likely to clot. There is no stroke risk reduction intervention more powerful than quitting smoking. Fifth, take aspirin only if your doctor has prescribed it. Do not self-prescribe based on this video. Aspirin is appropriate for some cardiovascular profiles and dangerous in others. Here is what I want you to do right now. Write down the 7 signs. Put the paper somewhere you will see it. Teach FAST to one person in your life today, because strokes do not always announce themselves dramatically. They often whisper before they shout, and the people who hear the whisper, the people who act on it, are the ones who keep their independence, their speech, their memory, their lives. You have now heard the whisper. Please act on it. Share this video, because right now, someone you love may be experiencing one of these signs and dismissing it as nothing. And what you have just learned could be the most important thing that reaches them today. Your brain works every moment for you. Please give it the protection it deserves.